I'm Jeff Mowatt. Not long ago, when difficult employees fouled up, they were warned. Then if things didn't improve, well, they were shown the door. Nowadays, though, with staffing shortages, getting rid of employees who are difficult doesn't really fix the problem. It just changes the problem. That means it's more important than ever that leaders know how to manage and motivate difficult employees without just causing them to quit and go elsewhere. Well, that's what you'll learn in this video. Oh, and here's a tip. Be sure to watch this right to the end, because my last tip on dealing with difficult employee behaviors is one that has the most impact on people actually changing their behaviors. In a perfect world, employees would have positive attitudes and be motivated to provide great service to internal and external customers. In the real world, however, sooner or later as a manager, you're going to have to deal with difficult employee behaviors. For over 30 years, managers have brought me in to work with their teams to enhance customer service culture. In those seminars, we share tips on how to motivate employees, including difficult employees. The good news is, when you apply these techniques, you'll not only change their behaviors, you'll also change their lives. Consider this real-world example of how one leader changed the life of a person with a poor attitude. In this case, it was a teacher dealing with an unruly student. Imagine you are a 12-year-old who hates school. You despise it so much that you can hardly wait until you're old enough to drop out. It's late one Friday afternoon. You're counting the minutes until the bell rings and the weekend starts. You're stuck in math class. Your reverie is suddenly interrupted by the teacher, who's in the middle of giving you a 3-page homework assignment due on Monday. So you and some other students start whining and moaning when the teacher looks at you only and says, "I need to speak with you in the hallway now." Well, now you're embarrassed, you're probably angry, and mostly you're scared about what's going to happen in the hallway. Then it happens. The teacher looks you square in the eye and says, I've been watching you over the last while, and I think you have a lot of leadership potential. The challenge I've been having lately is when I give a homework assignment, you start rolling your eyes and saying, "Oh, gee, do I have to do this again?" Well, other students look at you doing that, and they start doing the same thing, which makes my job harder. So I wonder if you can do me a favor. Next time I give a homework assignment, could you just do nothing? Because not only will it help me, I think that with your natural leadership abilities, it'll help you go a lot further in life. All right, that's it. Let's get back to class. Okay, not a bad way to handle a problem student, in theory, at least, but that's not, as Paul Harvey would have said back in the day, the rest of the story. The rest of that story is that 12-year-old was me. I hated school so much that I was literally counting the days. And I think at the time it was like 14 or 15 you could drop out of school until I was old enough to drop out. I remember that afternoon in Varsity Acres Elementary School in Calgary when my teacher, Mr. McCullough, gave us that homework assignment. Now, I was trying to look cool as I was being marched into the hallway. Yeah, like no big deal, right? But frankly, I was terrified. When Mr. McCullough gave me that 2-minute talk, though, I'm not overstating this, it changed my life. Here was a teacher telling me that I had leadership abilities and showing me a simple way to make it happen. Now, I have to tell you, I had great parents, still have great parents, and they always said I had potential and encouraged me. But, at 12 years old, they're your parents. What do they know? I knew how to roll my eyes into the next province. Well, I took Mr. McCullough's advice, and it changed everything. From that day forward, I got along better with teachers, and not surprisingly, I got better grades. I ended up staying in school and going on to university because Mr. McCullough knew how to change a cynical kid's attitude. Well, I've thought about that conversation many times over the years since I've been studying frontline motivation, and I realized Mr. McCullough used 2 strategies particularly well. Oh, quick courtesy reminder, if you're finding this to be helpful, be sure to like and subscribe so that as I release new videos, you'll get a heads up. There are 2 keys to corrective feedback that Mr. McCullough employed. I don't know if he did this consciously or not, but it certainly worked with me. The first was he focused on behavior, not attitude. In other words, it doesn't do much good for a manager to tell employees they're not friendly enough with their customers. Friendliness is an attitude. The employee's thinking, well, I am friendly. Gee whiz, I greet people, I help them. It feels like we're being unfair as leaders. Instead, a supervisor is going to get better results by focusing on observable behavior. So the supervisor might say, when the customer walked in, you avoided making eye contact with them until they asked you a question, and then you frowned as you responded. Now that's observable behavior. No one can argue the facts. Remember I said my last tip on dealing with difficult behaviors is the one that has the most impact on changing behavior, but people often forget to do it? Well, here it is. The teacher gave a positive direction. He told me exactly the behavior change that I needed to make. Next time I give a homework assignment, could you just do nothing? So in the case of an employee who's unfriendly with customers, we might say, okay, the expectation is when the customer walks in the door, within 10 seconds, we are expected to smile, show teeth, and offer to help them. Okay, so that's observable behavior. It's not just be friendly towards customers, it's what does that friendliness look like in terms of behavior. Add to that your underlying belief, the potential of that employee, and you can not only change their behavior, you can have an impact on them for the rest of their lives. Maybe like me with that teacher, you'll not only change your behavior, but you'll remember them fondly for decades later. I'm Jeff Mowatt. I hope you found this to be helpful. And if you like this video, I think you're going to love my 30-second tips. You'll get them for free at jeffsbusinesstips.com. See you next time.